Should have shared mine. I had a phone call. Well, my sister texted me this morning at 10 to 7. She said, "Are you awake?" Thankfully, well, not thankfully, I was awake. Me and Arlo, our youngest, we were downstairs. And she goes, "Oh, good." Because Yasmin, who's my niece, her little daughter, she goes, she wants to speak to Father Christmas. And I said, "Well, that's great, but I'm not Father Christmas." She goes, "Can we just ring you? You pretend to be Santa." Because she wants to speak to him. So okay. So the next thing, my phone's ringing. I'm trying to keep Arlo quiet because that might give the game away that I'm not, in fact, Santa Claus. Obviously, she couldn't get hold of the real Santa. So I answer the phone, ho, ho, ho. And she goes, "Is that Santa?" I said, "Yes." Forgive me, Lord, for lying. Technically, sometimes it's true, though, isn't it? And she goes, "I want a toy train for Christmas." I said, "Oh, that's nice, a toy train." And she goes, "Yes, please." And then she hangs up the phone. Clearly wasn't that good of a job. And I thought, oh, okay, so that's it. So then I text my sister. She goes, "Oh, thanks for doing that. That was great." And I thought, well, I probably should ask now what they want for Christmas because I'm not that organised, but we need to start getting there, don't we? It's the first Sunday of Advent today. So I texted her and said, "Is that what she wants for Christmas, a toy train?" And she goes, "Well, she's been on about it for the last few days, but she's got a train set upstairs already that she never ever plays with." And so I said, "Well, I won't get her that then." Yesterday we went to the light switch on, but not the actual light switch on in Worksop, but the whole build-up before the light switch on. And I'm never very good at stuff like that because I'm like, oh, these people, they just want my money, don't they? All these market stalls out there selling all of this stuff, seeing children, and they're on it. And there's a hooker duck there. £4 for a hooker duck. I know. It's expensive, isn't it? But apparently in Derby, it was £6 for their hooker duck. I'm sure it used to be £1. That's more than inflation, isn't it? But it's £4 for this hooker duck. And so Caris, our oldest, she wants to go on this hooker duck. And so I said, well, Caris, I'd given them a £5 budget to spend on the day. Some of you are like, "Marcus, that's tight." I was like, well, they don't deserve that. So I said, "Caris, you've already spent £2.50. So if you want to go on hooker duck, it's coming out of your money." So she goes, okay, that's it. She wants hooker duck. And it's one of these hooker ducks where everyone's a winner, which I think appeals to children, doesn't it? Because they think, oh, well, I'm going to win. So she wins something. Well, she hooks this duck and then she goes, well, pick a prize. And Caris stands there for 3 minutes looking at all of the tat behind the hooker duck. And she can't choose anything because she's realised that she's been had because this is all stuff from the pound shop. And eventually she picks something and hopefully next year she will learn her lesson and we won't have to play hooker duck at the Worksop like Christmas switch on. But it is that time of presents, isn't it? I'm not very good at presents. Generally for Christmas, I look forward to it because I know that at least I'm going to get some socks. And it's that time of year now where I need some socks to start coming in. I know I work for church, but I shouldn't be that holy. You shouldn't have laughed at that. That was awful, okay? But I need some socks. And a few years ago, Seren got me a pair of socks. And she didn't quite understand the meaning on these socks. She just thought they were nice, but they had a chili on them, and it said hot stuff on the socks. And now, though, I don't usually wear them. And she'll come up to me and she'll be like, "Why aren't you wearing my socks?" And this year she goes, "I'm going to get you some more chili socks for Christmas this year." But when I do wear them, she's ecstatic. She's like, "Daddy, you're wearing my socks." And she's so happy because she sees someone using the gift that they've been given. And it's nice, isn't it? That's part of the reason we give gifts, because we like to see people use them, appreciate them. And a few weeks ago, I had I put on my Instagram story. It was a really sad day for me. Some people think I've overreacted to this, but my favorite mug broke. Now, I've had this mug for a long time, okay? Like, this is something you should feel sorry for me. I'm actually having a little bit of a counseling session with you all now. This was a mug. It was about 13 years old. I got it in South Africa, and it was a Ferrari mug. It was my favorite mug. Tea tasted amazing out of this mug. In fact, when we moved house over the last few years from various places, this mug got packed by itself in polystyrene balls, wrapped in bubble wrap as well, because I didn't want it to get broken. Anyway, so I got it out of the cupboard, and there's a chip gone. I know, it was incredibly sad. I'm still not quite over it. Because you can't get these mugs anymore. This type of mug that I had, it's been discontinued from the stock. And so I was incredibly sad. I couldn't talk for about 2 days. Couldn't enjoy my cups of tea. And then Mark Bean, some of you will know him. He's not here today. Sometimes he plays keys. It's not Rachel. That's the lady that plays keys. And it's not Sean. She's also a lady that plays keys. But when a man plays keys, that's usually Mark. And he saw my Instagram story, and he just so happened to be on eBay, obviously not working very hard. And a Ferrari mug popped up on his eBay. And he bought it for me. And it was the best present I've had. And now I can enjoy my cups of tea again. But there's a gift that's been... really need to crack on, don't I? But there's a gift that's been given, and I love it. And I enjoy it. And we've been looking at the church over the last few weeks. And Sean started us off. She preached 2 preachers. And she started to look at the church, how the church is God's. It belongs to God. And then she was talking about how the church is alive and how it should be full of life. And then last week, Anki was talking about how the church is brave, how the church should be this brave thing, how we step out. And this week, I want to tell you, just briefly, that the church, it's a gift. It's a gift from God to us, and it's a gift to the world as well. But God wants to see his gift get used. It's a gift. And a few years ago in lockdown, we gathered our teams together, everyone that serves on a team, and we did something really, well, I think it was quite brave. At the time, I was like, God, I don't know why we're doing this. This could backfire on us massively. And we gathered together all of the teams. And it was on Zoom, because that's what we did during lockdown. And we said, right, everyone is released from their duty. We kind of got rid of all teams on our rota system. We cleared everyone out. We said, hey, you're no longer serving on this team. But we want you to sign up afresh today. To say, like, actually, I'm not volunteering and serving because I've always done it, or because I feel like I should do it. But today I want to say, hey, I want to serve the church. I want to volunteer for the church because I want to do it, because my heart is in it. And God wants us to serve his church. God wants us to be actively part of the church because we are the church. And he wants us to engage, but he wants us to want to do that. It says God loves a cheerful giver. He doesn't want miserable people serving. Now, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't serve. But if we're serving with a bad heart, or I don't really want to do this, we've got to start looking at why. Because the church is God's. It's his gift to us, and he knows us well, and he's given us this gift. And so we've got to start trusting him with the gift that he's given us. If God says, hey, I've given you this gift, and we push it to one side, well, that's not for me. I don't want to get engaged in that. I'm not going to be part of that. We're saying, God, I don't really trust you with that gift. I don't think that's for me. And so you might be getting fed up now of this series, or fed up of us asking for people to volunteer. And listen, the truth is, if you don't want to volunteer, we don't want you to volunteer. But God does want you to volunteer, and to do it with a cheerful heart. To say, hey, this is my way that I can contribute to what God is calling me to do, and the church. And so today, because I've taught loads already, I'm going to get up a few friends of mine. You're all my friends, but these are people that I've prepped, some with 2 minutes notice. And we're going to talk to them about why they serve in church. So I hope they're here. I can't see any of you at all. But Gary, Jackie, Shirley, Mark, why don't you come up for me? They've all, no? Okay, great. Give them a round of applause. Fantastic. I've saved you the short chair on the end, Jackie. She's on it. Hey, guys. Thanks for this. So, I can't see anything. It's like we purposely made it dark out there because they're all quite ugly and it's distracting jokes. It's quite distracting, isn't it? But Shirley, can you get up or not? No, it's a bit tall, these chairs, aren't it? She's So these guys, they're amazing, and some of you will know these people. Some of you might get to serve, but I just wanted to kind of talk to you a little bit today about what you do in church and why you do it. And I think they've all kind of come from different backgrounds. So we'll start on my right. Why don't you just introduce yourself, tell us your name, and kind of a little bit of what you do in church. Oh, I probably should have turned these mics on. Everyone just check.
Hello. Hello. You know me, I'm Jackie. I serve on hospitality mostly with Gary, my husband. We do lots of food. We fill people up. Never trust a thin feeder. Yeah, we do a lot of. We do the lounge and the Now Gold, and we're community pastors, but it's turned into like the senior pastors mostly because most of our people we pastor are like the elder generation who we absolutely love. We love, they make us laugh. And yeah, so that's what me and Gary do. We do stuff for the food and feeding and yeah, don't we? Yeah.
You want to say anything, Gary?
And the lounge and the hub and stuff.
Well, yeah, we don't need a detailed list because I've already gone over my time.
Yeah. I'm Gary and I'm Jackie's husband and I do as I'm told. Most of the time. Have I told you the story about the lion? Or shall I do that?
Moving on, Mark.
Yeah,
Tell us a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, hello.
And who you are.
I'm Mark, and I do the welcome side of things. Saying about volunteering and gifting, I looked at it and I said, I want to be used, God. How can I be used? I can't play drums, and I definitely can't sing. I make a terrible cup of tea. But I thought I can at least smile, stand at the door and hopefully remember names. So that's what I do basically. But it's really about welcoming people in. It's like, if this is your home, which I see it as our home, is you want to make sure it's clean, tidy, and you welcome people in and they have a lovely cup of tea and a cup of coffee before we get started.
Over now. Cheers. Shirley, tell us a little bit about what you do and who you are.
Hi, I am Shirley, obviously, and I actually am originally from India, and I came to Worksop in 2012, and I was looking to join a church because I was brought up as a Christian, but I lost my way with God, so I remember November 2012, I walked through these doors and it was Bacon Butties, and because it was like the Remembrance Sunday, I remember Kathy and I remember my son was just 8 years old, and he thought, oh, this is good, Mom, I'll come to church, you know what I mean, because Bacon Butty we are expecting, that's when I started here, and then I wanted to grow more with God. So I just started talking to ladies and things like that, and then I love cooking and I love feeding. So that's why I started volunteering at Now Gold, and I love older people because they got lots of stories to say. So I loved, enjoyed. I didn't know I can cook only Indian food. English food comes, I don't know. It's like Sarah is not here, Margaret, Barbara, bless us all. they all told me what to do with like roast dinners, and Margaret is not here today. She was very precise how things are done. Me and Sarah, we just swing it. We started winging it. So that's how I started. I still volunteer at the Now Gold as well as the tea and coffees here at church. Yeah.
And she- Awesome. And you guys enjoy serving?
We absolutely love serving. We have such fun at our events, don't we? We have a team of people that I just draw in all the time that we just know that can get on with it, do stuff, and that's it, and it just runs. Margaret's had her way, and we've just tipped it upside down, and we do it our way.
Sometimes I come in and I have to tell these off because they're having too much fun. In fact, we had a team away day recently, and we went to a hotel, and we would spend the day planning and dreaming and in building one another up. And I went out at the end of the day to see reception and to pay the bill. And they said, have you had a good time? I said, yes. And they said, all we could hear all day was you laughing. Have you actually done any work today? But it's because we should enjoy what we do. And these guys love what they do. And they've all come from very different backgrounds, I think, as well. So, Shirley, you're like, tell us what you do in your job. Not too much detail, but...
What do I do? Okay. I'm a nurse by background, so I work full-time, not clinically at the moment. I do in the teaching field, so I'm head of the Department for Education for all of the South Yorkshire, so I am very busy what I do. But that doesn't stop me from volunteering because I love my church and I love to, because I am very close to God when I'm doing that, so that is what I enjoy very much, and the team I work with and the people I serve. So yeah, I am very busy as a professional, but I love what I do. Yeah,
it's amazing. She is a very busy lady, and usually she's there telling everyone else what to do. I mean, she usually tells me what to do as well, or I get in trouble from her. But that's who she is. But I love the fact that you come to church and you prioritise serving. And Shirley won't tell you this because. She probably won't, but you book time off work, don't you? You use annual leave. So we run 12 Now Golds a year, and you book those days off, don't you? And I think that's phenomenal. I think like actually something like that deserves just a bit of a round of applause, actually.
Sometimes it's better than work.
It's always better than work. But I just love the heart behind what you do. And I think there's such an example for us. Like, we can have busy lives and we can use that, can't we? I can't. And our heart as a church, well, let me tell you our heart as a church is we believe in church gathered and we believe in the church scattered. So that doesn't mean you're not the church when you're not in work. And that doesn't mean you shouldn't go to work. And it doesn't mean you shouldn't serve your workplace. But we also believe in the church gathered. And so that means, hey, we're going to contribute towards that as well. Mark, you've got a little daughter, Clemmie. She turns 1 on Tuesday. 1 year old. How have you found the balance of serving and having a young daughter?
It's been a real opportunity because it opens different doors, doesn't it? When you've got a young child, you go into different situations. So it's going to different groups. I come to the Now Tots on Thursday, one or two dads, I think, which is great. I'm actually a retired bank manager, and the good news is that I'm not asked to do anything for finances in the church. Because after a few years of doing facts and figures, it's nice to be dealing with people instead. A lot better.
Although some people would say, give me the facts and the figures over the people, but we're all different. And Gary and Jackie, completely different again. And again, I want to honour what Gary and Jackie do. Should I tell them what you've done, or should you? You tell them. Go on, Jackie.
Yeah, I worked in mental health for 30-odd years, and Gary was a chef for most of his life. And our circumstances changed. We last year, the year after COVID, I had to finish work on ill health and Gary got made redundant, so we were stuck somewhere, and Gary's mental health suffered and my physical health suffered. So I finished work on ill health, and we both decided together that, okay, we just need a total change, because we were chasing money and not very well, me, but yeah. And we got into that rut of living that type of life, and we decided together that the house we were living in, we couldn't afford to live there, so we moved to Langold into a flat which is totally alien to how we've always lived in it, and purposely moved to be nearer the church. It was a situation that we found ourselves in, and we grabbed onto it, and I do think that it was God's movement that brought us there, because my daughters live in Langold, and I think if we hadn't have done our serving journey, well, I know my journey to God would not have been as powerful had we not been serving and changed our whole lifestyle to be here. And we're now on the doorstep, and I've told Marcus, but you might as well get a flat upstairs for us, because we're here more than we are at home. My electric is so wonderful because we use churches. We have no problems.
I did have to tell them off when they started hanging their underwear around the house place, though.
That was a net curtain, that weren't my underwear, cheeky. Cheeky Marcus. So the situation it's an opportunity that we grabbed, because we was very, very lucky to be in that situation where I got my pension and we're able to live on that, and we now serve church full time. I've never done as much work here than I did at work. I used to sit observing people at work for 12 hours a day, and that was my work, and now I'm shattered, but happy shattered, and there's not a day goes by where I'm not joyful about what we do.
You know my story, really, and I think it comes better from somebody else. If I'm pretty much in the same situation, but
No, Gary came to me. It was again during lockdown, didn't you, Gary? And just said, just explain some of the pressures that were on you with work and how that was affecting your mental health. Yeah. And you had this opportunity to take redundancy, didn't you?
Yeah.
And that was voluntary redundancy. And that was you worked out, you'd said, Marcus, I've got about a year that I can give to the church. I've got this payment that's, will cover me for a year, and I want to serve the church. The issue that I had, it was lockdown. And the reality was there wasn't that much, well, there was stuff going on, but there wasn't loads I could give to Gary at that time. But I loved your heart, and I appreciated everything that Gary was doing and saying, and the way that he was getting behind the church. But I felt a bit bad, because I was like, here's someone that wants to give a year, but he's just come at the worst possible time. But then
did a lot of fishing in this.
He did do a lot of fishing instead. Just the wrong kind of fish. Could be cheesier, couldn't we? But then Gary made a decision, and Jackie kind of touched on it, but I'll bring it out because I'll highlight them. You know what? It works for what they're doing, but they have made strategic life decisions to be able to serve. Like Gary has then said, you know what? I'm not going to go back to work. We're going to reduce our lifestyle. We're going to change where we live. We're gonna not have luxuries all the time. We're going to cut back on stuff so that we can give to church. And I think that is phenomenal, because the world will tell us to chase money, and it will tell us to go after this. And we have a bad habit as people. We live to our means, don't we? And I'll tell you, you probably won't ever have enough. No matter how much money you earn, it won't be enough, because you start living to that lifestyle, don't you? You start living to how much money you've got. But these guys made a decision and said, hey, you know what? We're not going to chase money anymore. We're going to do what we believe God is asking us to do. And that might not be the same for you. Again, we believe in people serving in their workplace and bringing God into their workplace. But it is phenomenal the way they've trusted God and made changes to be able to do that. And I think it's a message that we all need to hear, even though we might not do what they do. But where are our priorities? Because very often, church, if I'm honest, and I can't see you today, so it's a lot easier to be honest, church takes a back seat to other stuff. And it can be like, actually, you know what, I've got this on today, or I've got the opportunity to do this, and so I'll just push that to one side. But what you've done is actually said, you know what, no, I'm going to prioritize church. I'm going to let God provide the rest. And I think that's phenomenal. Everything that you guys do, the way that you love to serve is amazing. Let's give them all a round of applause just for what they do, yeah, and the way they've done it. Because any one of them could say, I'm too busy, or I've got a young child, or we've got to work, but they haven't. So, well, I'm going to get you to say one more thing anyway, and then why don't you, whatever you're going to say, Jackie, plus just say like an encouragement to us about what we can do in church, how we can serve, or like what you've got out of it personally.
I just want to say it weren't an easy decision, but it was an easy decision. It was scary, very scary. But when you trust God, and it's a very hard thing to trust God, to take that leap of faith. But once you do it, you get so much back. You get so much back in not in monetary or things. It just blows your mind. It really does, and you just get so much back in giving. And even if you want to volunteer for anything, we always have loads of people. I think people want to volunteer with us for the fun of it, don't they, Shirley? Because we have such a good laugh. But even if it's just an hour of your time, you know, or someone who could go shopping for us, and just little things like that, which would be a great help, or just to come and help us to tidy up after an event at the end of it, because it ends up with maybe a few of us, because we work so hard. Just that little bit of help, it makes you feel good, and we have such a laugh, don't we? It's just, and it's all for God, and yeah, it's just greatly appreciated.
Yeah, I just want to add to that, but it works for us this way, but it doesn't necessarily mean it'll work. That's the same way for you guys. If you all went and left your jobs or college on Monday, nobody would have any money to support the church. So in a way, with what you're doing with the lifestyles that everyone has their own part in playing, it's not just a way supporting, but finances do make a difference, and if none of you had a job to go to and we're all working, we'd have no money, and the church wouldn't run. We wouldn't be able to pay the electric bill. But it works for us.
Why do you think the lights are off?
Yeah.
Go on, Mark.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I volunteered for the Commonwealth Games during the summer, and I went down to do some work there for a few days, and it just struck me how much organisation it took to put something like that together. It's just phenomenal when you thought about everything, you know, from the toilets, the bins, you know, the lighting, the sound, everything. It just struck me, it was just amazing that had all come together. People who worked there were just, you know, so bowled over by the excitement and fun of it all. And I reflected that we do that all the time here. The difference is they go to see a world-class sport or whatever, but we come to meet the creator of the world.
Yeah.
For me, like Jackie said, it's joyous. You know, we feel the joy of God reflecting on us. Whatever we do, volunteer here, that's what I come again and again. And again, like Isaiah chapter 6:8 says, "Here I am, send me." That's what I always say. You know, I don't know what talents I got, but it's all to glorify God.
Give these guys a massive round of applause. You can take your seats. You can stay with me if you want. But people look at you up here. Cheers, guys. What I'm going to do is just spend 5 minutes now before we finish. It's a bit practical today. It's a bit different. If you come for something deep and theological, you should have come when Sean was preaching. You can catch all that on YouTube instead. I'm going to run through some practical ways that you can get involved in church. And we have a little bit of a thing when we have our team meetings and leaders meetings. We often say, we're going to do it, but the books tell us we shouldn't do that. And when it comes to volunteering, because we're passionate about people wanting to do it for themselves, we don't often just come up to you and they say, if you want people to volunteer, you've got to come up to them and ask directly. And On the odd occasion, I might do that, but we generally don't do that because we want you to want to do it. We don't want you to feel pressurized into doing something, but we want a heart that says, yeah, God, I want to serve your church. So we're going to look at some different ways. I'm going to go as quick as I can. That maybe one of these today we could say, actually, I could get involved in that. So the first one, they're going to come up on the screen, hopefully, because if not, I won't remember what they are, is just our Sunday teams. And let's start with sound and AV, because we need some... No, they're there. No. Sunday teams, there's loads that goes on. Like Mark saying, to put something on, it's required a whole load of back effort. And today, we can come in and we can sit on our seats, and we can enjoy worship, but we forget how much has gone into it. Someone's put that seat out. Someone's prepared the worship. Someone's cleaned the toilets for us to be here. And so there's this welcome team, and Mark was talking about that. It's really easy. You stand and you say welcome, and you make people feel welcome in this place. We've got our cafe team. Who loves the coffee? They're amazing. Usually I have to tell them to stop talking to people and get me my tea, but the band, don't volunteer for the band if you're tone deaf and can't play. But maybe that's something that you're interested in. Maybe you are musical. There's loads of opportunities there. Sound and AV, they're a phenomenal team, and no one ever appreciates them if everything goes right, but everyone looks at them if things go wrong. That's, again, why they keep the lights down. But they're a phenomenal team. Set up, set down, moving chairs. These chairs in this room get moved probably about 20 times a week for different stuff that goes on. And there's loads of opportunities just to get engaged in a Sunday. What's next? Now kids. And most people say, I'm no good. I'm no good with kids. But our kids are the heart. We love our kids here. We love what they're doing now, kids. There's 3 groups that run on a Sunday, plus a lounge as well. There's loads of stuff that goes on in the week. And again, they just have loads of fun. And you might be like, I'm not down with the kids. Hey, you should see some of the team. But they love it. And I've been on kids for a couple of times over the last few weeks, and we just have so much fun up there. But it's more than fun. We're doing something so valuable and important. We tried, some people use the language, kids' church and main church. Well, this isn't main church. This is like adult church, and kids' church, it's all church. And we love Now Kids. And you don't have to be like a teacher. You don't have to be massively experienced. But there's so many opportunities to give in Now Kids. And they do week stuff as well throughout the year. What's next? Now Tots, again, for our young ones. They meet on a Thursday morning, 9:30 till 11:30, and this place is full of mums, dads, carers in the community, place for children to play, but also great places for conversations. And I can't tell you the amount of times that the team have sat and they've prayed with people, or they've been able to support people, or they've had people come in because they've had to, flee the homes and stuff like that. And it's just an amazing opportunity for those connections and for us to show Christ in our world. What's next? Now youth, again, getting a little bit older. Our youth are amazing most of the time. No, joking, they're always amazing. And we do loads of stuff. Tuesdays, drop-in, Thursday nights, and then some Friday nights as well. And there's mentoring, there's connections. Youth need people investing into their lives because they are the church. And it's not just for young people to connect with them. Hey, there's some great opportunities in our Now Youth department. What's next? Now Gold. Jackie spoke about this. Now I always get in trouble because I'm like, it's for the old people, but it's not for the old people. It's for the wiser in years people. Once a month. And honestly, sometimes I tell to Jackie, stop asking for volunteers because you just have too much fun anyway. But it's just once a month, a meal and a game of bingo. And if you come on a bad week, Pete tells some jokes. And a little thought, and some connections, and some prayer, and some invites, and some phone calls, checking up on people. And we love it. What's next? The lounge. So this is new. Tuesdays and Thursdays during the day. If you come here on Tuesday morning, if you came just Tuesday, just gone, there was like 60 people in here. I got here because we open up at 9:30. By 9:45, they were queuing at the door to get in. And it runs with the food hub on at the same time. But there's so much. We had citizens' advice in this week, giving advice. There's been people coming in and we've been helping them with some of their lives. And there's been people coming in and they've just found out they've got cancer and we've been able to pray for them. It's just making ourselves open and available. Sometimes we think, and we do go into the world. But right now, God is sending the world into this building. But we need people just to make those connections. We've got the food hub as well, which we love, our community grocery shop. But it's busy. It's busy. We're like running around, restocking shelves, facing up, checking dates, serving people, picking stuff up from supermarkets, doing collections. There's so many opportunities to get involved. What's next? The breakfast cafe once a month. Again, so much fun. Just bringing people. God is sending people into this place. And we just are making so many relationships. But sometimes, I'll be honest with you, we're really busy. Like the team here are really busy making toast and serving coffees. And what we need, the more people means the more connections we can have as well. What's next? I've got to go really fast. Now Women. They do different events throughout the year. If you want to get involved in just helping out with some of that stuff, organising, all of that, then there's a team that puts all of that on. And they'll always be after people to help. Same with Now Men, which I think is next. They go out for breakfast once a month and other stuff. And it might just be, hey, you know what? I've got a heart for men's ministry. I want to bring some more stuff out of that. Hey, well, why don't you have a chat? Next one. Alpha has been running on Thursday nights with food. Most things revolve around food in this place. Connection, coffee, discussion, bringing people into a deeper relationship with God and understanding who He is. And the team are phenomenal. They're amazing, but it's hard work as well. It's hard work, but they are a great team on a Thursday night. Next one, pastoral care. And maybe you're like, Marcus, these are all great, but I retired a few years ago and I can't really do some of that stuff. And maybe that's true. Maybe you can't set down, get down onto your knees and play with the toddlers that are coming in. But there's a massive need just for visiting, for caring for one another. And there's people in this room as well. They might not physically be out there on a team, but throughout the week, they're constantly picking up the phone and ringing around other people and checking in on them. And that's part of being the church as well. That's part of serving the church, providing that level of pastoral care. And that's really important. Next one, which comes alongside pastoral care, as well as looking after people in the church and those already connected. Again, God is constantly sending people in. We'll get referrals from the doctors and from social prescribers saying, hey, this person we've never met them before, but they'd really value a phone call, or like, can you go and meet with them? And they're connecting these people with us because they want them to come to church or to what we're putting on. But there's a team of people that we need to just go out and meet with those people and have coffee with them and knock at their door and have a doorstop conversation with them. I think we're getting towards the end. Admin and finance. There's loads that goes on. Where's Frances is around here somewhere. She'll be at the back. I don't know where she is. Is she here? She's out. She's there at the back. Frances is the one who is pregnant. Just to let you know, she's not eating too many pies. If you weren't quite sure, should I say something or shouldn't I say something? Frances works for the church and she's blooming heck. She's amazing. The only issue is she's about to have twins. I know. Bit selfish of her, isn't it? Jokes. I've said it to her face. It's all right. We love Frances. She is having twins. I think that's public knowledge. If not, it is now. She says, I just don't know how to tell people. I was like, well, Frances, it's quite obvious. Anyway, Maybe, like Mark says, I'm glad I'm not dealing with money anymore. But just whilst Francis takes some time off and a mat leave, hey, if you like counting coins and sorting out stuff that I don't understand, I had to do it last time she went off, and let me tell you, when she came back, she was not happy with me. But if you want to do that, there's a real opportunity there, and there's loads of admin stuff that goes on in the week. And I'm going to finish. Let's the next one. Building and maintenance. As you can see, we had these built a few weeks ago. I've still not got around to painting them. Well, that one's been painted white. We've not finished it yet because Sean did that. That one's still plasterboard because, you know what, just not had the time. But maybe you can say, hey, I can come and paint something. I can come and do some weeding or some gardening. I can put up a picture frame. It's all stuff that builds the church. Is that the last one, or have we got one more? Then we've got the seasonal stuff. Christmas gift appeal. Last year, 350 presents went out from this place to people that might not be getting presents otherwise. But it took a lot of work. We've got our school uniform bank that we run, but it takes a lot of work. We've got breakfast with Santa that's not on the list coming up. We've had to put on an extra day. But it all takes a lot of work. So there's loads of seasonal stuff as well. There's loads for you to get involved in. And we're going to finish now. And what we're not going to do is come up to you and say, hey, what about this for you? But maybe there's something just saying, hey, actually, that's something that I could contribute towards the church today. Come have a chat. You'll see someone. You could email us, hello@nowchurch.org.uk. You could message us on Facebook. If you see someone in a hello t-shirt or you see someone and you know they're part of that team, just have a chat with them. Find out some more information. And if you can't find anyone else, where's Yvette? She's on kids. Yvette does all of our rotas. She manages most of our volunteers. She's busy serving away. But you can have a chat with Yvette. So there's no discussion today, but let me pray for you, and then we're going to have some more tea and coffee, and I think there's some bread. If anyone wants to take some bread home, that'd be great, because we've got loads. God, we thank you for your church. We thank you for the gift that you've given us of your church, and we thank you that we get to be involved in your church as well. God, and I pray that we'd be a church, God, that knows that we belong to you. We'd be a church that is alive, that is full of life, God. We'd be a church that is brave, God. And we'd be a church that makes a difference in our world. Each one of us as individuals, God, and as a collective. God, so stir something up in our hearts. God, we thank you for the amazing team that is already here, for every person that is giving so much. We thank you, God, for the courageous givers that are already in this place. And Lord, we just ask as you take us further and further on as a church, that we would step up, that we would see the need, God, and we would get fully involved in your church. Amen. Amen. So let's open up the cafe, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you so much for watching The Preach. It has been an amazing morning, and we would love to see you in the week at any of our events. So stay up to date on our social media, on our website. Keep checking because we update things all the time. We have so much going on, and we'd love to see you there. Have a great week.